theyeshiva.net.
We are up to Rambam, Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, Perek Ches, the 8th chapter, Halacha Aleph. As I've once said, if I would have to make some choices, I think that every single yeshiva or high school would benefit tremendously from learning these chapters in Rambam. Just like they would benefit tremendously from learning the introduction of the Rambam to Mishneh Torah. And Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah in general, and some of the future sections in Rambam, I think particularly these chapters are not just important and vital, but really, as the Rambam puts it, the foundations, literally Yesodei HaTorah. They are the foundations of Torah and they are the foundations of Halacha. Let's see inside Halacha Aleph. Moshe Rabbeinu lo ha'aminu b'Yisrael mipnei ha'osos she'asa. Moshe Rabbeinu, the Jews did not believe in him or in his message because of any miracles that he performed. Sha'amaymin al pi ha'osos yesh b'libay doifi. Because anyone who believes based on miracles, based on signs, in his heart there are still misgivings, there are still doubts, there is ambivalence, questions. She'efshe she'yasa ha'oz b'lot v'kishuf. After all, it's possible to use magic, sorcery, other forms where certain people who have a skill to manipulate nature to one degree or another could perform great and sometimes stupendous, extraordinary feats. So don't think that all the miracles that you find in the Chumash, that was the basis for why the Jews believed in Torah, in Moshe Rabbeinu and his message. That's not the case, the Rambam says. That's the basis. All the miracles that Moshe did in the desert, lefi hatzorech hasam, primarily they came to fulfill a need. Lo lahavi raya al hanavuah, not to demonstrate the authenticity of Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy. For example, hayotzarech lahashkiyas hamitzrim, kares hayam v'tzlilam b'soichai. He needed to submerge, they needed to drown the Egyptians who wanted to destroy and re-enslave and subjugate the Jewish people. So Moshe Rabbeinu split the sea and drowned them inside of it. Nitzdarchu l'mazon. The Jewish people in a wilderness needed food. Hayridas haman. He descended the man, he had the man come down. Tzamu, they were thirsty. Bakalem ha'even. He struck the rock and split open the rock and water came out. Kafru bayadas Kairach. Kairach's community, staging a mutiny against Moshe, denied him, denied his position, denied his work. Bala isama aretz. The earth swallowed them up. V'chein shar kaloisis. And the same is true with all other wonders that you will find in the Chumash. Ubameha aminu boy. So what then caused the Jewish people to believe in him, if not all these miracles? Answers the Rambam b'Maimed Har Sinai, in the event at Mount Sinai, which we call Matan Torah, Sinai event, revelation. She'einenu ro v'lo zar v'aznenu shama v'lo yacher. Our eyes perceive the reality, not a stranger. This was not hearsay from somebody else. Our own ears heard it, and again lo yacher. It was not somebody else who experienced something and gave it over to us. What was it? Ha'esh, ha'koilas, v'halapidim. Jews saw the fire, they heard the sounds, they saw the lightning. V'hu nigash al ha'rafel. They observed Moshe Rabbeinu approaching the cloud, descending on Mount Sinai. V'ha'koil medaber elav. And the divine voice communicates to him. V'anu shaimim, we the Jewish people, all of the Jewish people here, Moshe, leich emer lehem kach v'kach. Moshe, go speak to the Jewish people and tell them so and so. V'chein hu oimer. This notion is discussed and articulated in Chumash. Moshe Rabbeinu says in Parshas Va'eschanan this week, Ponim beponim ha'diber Hashem imachem. Hashem spoke with you face to face. V'nemar, Moshe Rabbeinu also tells the Jewish people. This is in his final words during the last weeks of his life. Not with our forefathers did Hashem create this covenant with a select few. No. Ponim beponim, you have been present, you have seen it. How do we know that it's only the experience at Har Sinai? This remains the proof, to his prophecy, that it's authentic. And there's no blemish or falsehood in it. Shenemar. This the pasuk says in Parshas Yisro, Hine anoichi bo elecha ba'ava anon, ba'avur yishma ha'am bedabri imach, v'gam b'cha yaminu lo'olam. Hashem says, I will come to you in the thickness of the cloud, so that the nation hears when I speak to you, and also in you they will believe forever. Miklal. From here we can see shekoidim davar zeh lo yeheminu bo ne'emanus sheyemedes la'olam ela ne'emanus sheyeshachareh hirur machshava. Prior to this experience of Ma'amad Har Sinai, the Jewish people did not trust Moshe with a faithfulness that can stand for eternity, and no vicissitudes and no ups and downs and no fluctuations can challenge it. They believed in him, but it was subject to some misgiving and doubt and dilemma. There could still be some question, some apprehension. A faithfulness that has after it, hirur machshava, people can rethink it, can second guess it. That existed till Ma'amad Har Sinai. He says, now, when the whole nation will observe the revelation and will observe that you are my prophet, v'gam b'cha yaminu la'olam. Now, there will be a type of emunah that no force in history and no subsequent voice in history will be able to uproot. Beis, nimtzu. What do we learn from this? Eilu sheshalach lahem heima edim al nevuasai sheyemes. Who are the witnesses that Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy is true? Those people to who he communicated his prophecy. Ve'einei tzarich lahem lasis lamoisacher. He doesn't have to perform for them another wonder and another miracle to prove that he is indeed communicating to them the words of the divine creator. Sheheim vuhu echad bedavar. Because he and them, or they and he, are really exactly the same. Imagine two witnesses who both saw a particular event together. Every one of them, besides seeing it himself, can also testify that his friend is saying the truth. You know why? He doesn't have to believe his friend. It's not like his friend says, I saw something today, and here, I'm telling you the truth, and I'll give you signs and wonders and impress you that I'm a real guy, I'm an honest guy. He doesn't have to do that. Why? Because I've also witnessed it. So therefore, just like I witnessed it myself, I can also testify that this other witness is speaking the truth. Nobody has to prove to his friend that he's saying the truth, because his friend saw it just like he saw it. When the two witnesses are communicating the event to other people, those people never saw it. They have to trust the witnesses. They may trust them 100%, they may trust them 50%, they may not trust them, and the witnesses have to figure out a way to build a trust. But the witnesses themselves, each one of them saw it. So when the other person says it happened, I don't need proof that he's saying the truth, because I saw it. When Moshe Rabbeinu communicated the message of Hashem that he received at Sinai, the Jewish people didn't need proof. They didn't need a miracle that Moshe Rabbeinu should impress them. Wow, this guy is real. He can do things that we can't do. No, they themselves were witnesses together with Moshe Rabbeinu. The beautiful expression of the Tzemach Tzedek, the pasuk says, Al pishnayim eidim yakum davar. According to two witnesses, the davar, everything, every truth is established in Jewish law. You need two witnesses. So he says there's also a spiritual meaning. Al pishnayim eidim yakum davar. The dvar Hashem, the words of God that were communicated to the Jewish people, Torah mitzvahs, were established by two witnesses. The Rambam says here, Hu heim v'hu echad bedavar kishnei eidim. Actually, some have in the manuscript of Rambam heim v'hu eidim bedavar. This is according to the Oxford manuscript, echad bedavar, but it's also heim v'hu eidim bedavar. There were two edis. Dvar al pishnayim eidim yakum davar, the dvar Hashem. The Jews were witnesses. Millions of Jews who were standing at Sinai were witnesses, just like Moshe Rabbeinu was a witness. In fact, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, the ayin at the end of Shema is a large ayin, and the daled at the end of Echad is also a large daled, which makes up, of course, ayin daled, which is aid, test, witness. The Jewish people, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, the Jewish people are witnesses to Har Sinai. The same is true Moshe Rabbeinu with Moshe Kol Yisrael Eidim Lo Yachem Ma'amad Har Sinai Ve'ein Tzarech Lasos Lamois. Once Ma'amad Har Sinai happened, every single Jew was a witness that Moshe Rabbeinu is real, that his prophecy is authentic, that Hashem communicated to him. He doesn't have to do another wonder for them. They have seen everything that he has seen. They know everything he knows because they were there. This goes back all the way to the beginning, when Moshe saw the vision at the burning bush in Midian, and Hashem appointed him to become the leader of the Jewish people. So he tells him in the beginning of his prophecy, right in the beginning, he gave him different miracles to do in Egypt. Right, the stick turning into a snake, the water turning into blood. He gave him different ices to do. And he said, the Jewish people will listen to your voice. They will obey you. They will trust you. But he knew that miracles don't cut it. The real, truthful and authentic person, even if there are miracles, but his faith is based on the miracles, his heart still is apprehensive. His heart is still in doubt. There is still ambivalence. He thinks, maybe this fellow is manipulating nature. I cannot be sure that the message is absolutely 100% honest. Therefore, he didn't want to go. He says, the Jewish people won't believe me. Moshe Rabbeinu feels that miracles just don't cut it. Yes, they're powerful, they're impressive, it can startle you and overwhelm you and shock you. But to say that this is emes, it's true, I don't know. Maybe there's some science that you're aware of that I don't know, I'm not aware of. Maybe you have some skill in manipulating nature. Maybe you have some secrets. I don't know. I can't say for sure. There's still a doifit, there's still a doubt. And then Yiddishkeit would not be Yiddishkeit. Torah's emes, it would lack that quality of absolute truth. Until Hashem lets him know, he says, these miracles are only good till they leave Egypt. After they leave Egypt and they come to this mountain, they'll come to Mount Sinai, now all doubts that they may have will leave. Because it's here at the mountain, I'm going to give you a sign which will make them aware that I have truthfully sent you, and their heart will be cleansed from any doubt. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu, this is what the Torah says. Hashem says, this is the sign that I have sent you. This is to you the sign that I have sent you. When you take the Jews out of Mitzrayim, you're going to serve Hashem on this mountain, the mountain where he revealed himself to him, which is Mount Sinai. This is going to be the sign. In other words, I know till then the wonders and all the miracles will not absolutely convince them. But that will ultimately consolidate the emunah as absolutely true. What do we learn from this? Shekol Navi, Sheyamid Acha Moshe Rabbeinu. Any prophet who stands up after Moshe Rabbeinu, Einonu Ma'aminim Bo B'pnei Ha'os Levadai. A fascinating idea. Any prophet who gets up after Moshe Rabbeinu, even if he fits all the criteria, and he says something in the name of God, we don't believe him because of the miracle that he did. In other words, we do not say, if he does a miracle, we're going to listen to everything he says. You know why? Maybe he has some skill to manipulate nature. We're not sure. There's only one thing we are really certain about, and that's Ma'amad Har Sinai, where every single Jew was present and experienced through their own eyes and ears and mind and soul and psyche divine revelation, and experienced Moshe being chosen as the quintessential prophet and shliach, messenger through which Hashem is communicating his Torah and his mitzvahs. That is certain as anything can be in our world. Eineinu ro v'lo zar. Our eyes saw it. Azneinu shama v'lo yach. This was not somebody waking up in the morning and saying, I had a revelation last night, performing a grand miracle, impressing millions of people with the miracle, and then them believing whatever else he says. That's not what happened. By Matan Torah, they saw, they experienced Hashem, and Hashem choosing Moshe as his Navi, as his messenger, to communicate Torah, which he would later communicate 613 mitzvahs besides the 10 commandments that were communicated at Mount Sinai. That's the most absolute reality in Jewish history and in history at all. In history altogether, in all of history. So therefore, we don't believe any subsequent prophet because of he's making impressive miracles. You know why we believe him? The only thing that we can really trust is absolutely true, without any doubt. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu told us. The mitzvah, Moshe tells the Jews in Parshas Shoftim, Im nosan ois, a love tishmon. If a Navi makes a miracle, a love tishmon, you should listen to him. Just like Moshe also told us, also in Dvarim, al pishnaya made him. You should render the verdict based on two witnesses. I don't know if the witnesses are saying a true or of truth or falsehood. I don't know. It's possible that these two witnesses made up a lie. I don't know. So why am I believing them? Why does halacha say we accept the testimony of two witnesses after scrutiny, after investigation, sometimes thorough and merciless investigation, especially if it's a capital crime? But any situation, we investigate witnesses. We want to make sure it's authentic. But can we really know? What if they prepared well? They prepared well and concocted a lie, it never happened, and they can withstand all the investigation. And the answer is, I don't know. Maybe they're lying. So why do we accept it? The answer is, because Moshe Rabbeinu in his Torah said that Hashem's will is that we should accept two witnesses. We do whatever we can, as much as humanly possible, to ascertain truth. And Hashem said, two witnesses is criteria for you to accept truth. But can we be sure? We can't be sure. We don't know. The same Moshe Rabbeinu gave us a mitzvah that if a prophet fits all the criteria that Torah says about a prophet, which the Rambam discussed earlier in chapter 7, and we'll still get back to it, and this Navi does a miracle after all the criteria that the Navi has to have, so Moshe Rabbeinu, when the Torah says, listen to him, and that Moshe Rabbeinu is true, that we know for sure. We all saw it. And Hashem said to Moshe, every mitzvah that's communicated in the Torah, and he says, a love tishmon, you listen. That we know is true. Hashem said, listen to this prophet. You could say the prophet is a sorcerer, he's a great magician. You're right, I don't know for sure. But based on the criteria that Hashem gave me, Hashem said, I'm telling you to listen to him. And that's certainly true. Gimel, lefichach. What's the consequence of this? I have to say, it's in this halacha. If you really get this chapter, you'll understand some of the fundamental aspects of how Jewish history developed, of how the immune system of Yiddishkeit remains intact from Moshe Rabbeinu till today. You will see here the absolute intellectual, spiritual, moral integrity that characterizes the system of Torah and the system of halacha. Because this was upheld in the most powerful, impeccable fashion. And you could study all of the literature of the Tanakh, of Mishneh, of Gemara, Bavli, Yerushalmi, Sifri, Tosefta, Medrashim, Zohar, the works of the Gaonim, the works of the Rishonim, the works of the Chachamim, until this very day. And those who were loyal to the system of the halacha, these definitions that the Rambam articulated and is now going to articulate are really the powerful guarantor that represent the incredible immune system, if you will, of the system of Jewish law, of Torah and mitzvahs. Listen to the words of the Rambam. Lefichach. A Navi, a prophet, stands up and he performs extraordinary miracles. As the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, I think Taf Tzadik, he stops the sun in the middle of the day. He says, no sunset today. Me and Joshua, me and Yeshua ben Nun could stop the sun. That's an example the Gemara gives. The Rambam doesn't give here an example. But he does an amazing miracle. He splits a sea. Or he walks on water. or he flies, whatever miracle he does. He does a gewaldige miracle. He resurrects a dead man or a dead woman. And then he has an agenda. What's his agenda? He denies the prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu. He says something in the Nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu is not true. He denies something of Torah. Ein shaymin loy. Jews will never listen to him, ever. We will not accept his words. We'll be impressed with a miracle, but we will not accept his words as true. We know with certainty that all the miracles he did was some magic and sorcery, some manipulation of nature that he's skilled at. Why? Why? Says the Rambam, Lefisha Nevuas, Moshe Rabbeinu ein al pia oises le'shenayrich oises elo oises ele beinenu rinu abaznenu shmanu k'Moshe shamahu, because the prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu is not based on the miracles that he performed, so that we should now compare Moshe's fireworks and drama and fanfare and display of extraordinary miracles and this prophet's display of extraordinary miracles. Let's see who did a better job. Let's see who startled us more, who overwhelmed more, who's more capable, and therefore we'll be able to say, who should we trust? Should we trust Moshe, or should we trust this new prophet, who, a new kid on the block, maybe not a kid on the block, an adult on the block, who stopped the sun for us? Wow, it's pretty good stuff. Now, if he says Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy is false, even one part of it, maybe we should believe him. Says the Rambam, that would be true if we accepted Moshe Rabbeinu based on sticks becoming snakes, water turning into blood, sea being split, manna coming down from heaven, or water flowing from a rock in the wilderness. Then you would have a good question. But that's not why we accept the Nevuah of Moshe. We accept the Nevuah of Moshe because we have seen it with our own eyes, and we have heard it with our own ears. K'Moshe shamahu, we were there. We were all the prophets together with Moshe Rabbeinu. All the Jewish people were present at Har Sinai when Hashem revealed his presence, his own presence, and chose Moshe Rabbeinu as his messenger to communicate all of Torah and mitzvahs to the Jewish people, the 613 mitzvahs, besides the mitzvahs that they heard themselves from Hashem, as the Gemara says at the end of Makkos, Anochi and La'yilecha, the first commandments. Let me give you an example. You have 2 witnesses, or 10 witnesses, or if you wish, 10,000 witnesses, who come and testify to you about something that you saw with your own eyes, and they tell you it never happened. Now, what do? 10,000 people come to me and tell me, that yesterday, this Shabbos, I was in Australia. 10,000 people tell me. 10,000 people tell me something that I saw, and they tell me the opposite of what I saw. I don't start doubting it. I mean, if I have issues with my sanity, I'm having optical illusions, I live in a world of hallucination, fine. That's a whole separate situation. But if I'm generally trusting of the perception of my eyes about everything, and it's been proven right, and then 10,000 people come to me and say, you see this, but you don't really see this. It's not true. There's no tree in front of your eyes. There's no tree in front of your eyes. I don't have to struggle with it. I will not listen to them. I will not accept them. We're not talking about a situation where the witnesses are explaining what I'm seeing and giving it an honest perspective. They're just denying the facts that I didn't hear from somebody else. I perceived it with my own eyes. I don't struggle with it. I know for sure that they're liars. It's 2 people and the Torah says you have to listen to 2 witnesses. That's if you don't know that they're liars. But if you know that they're liars because you saw the story and you know that they made up a story, they concocted a story that never happened, of course you're not allowed to listen to them. We are a nation that is committed to one thing and one thing only. It's called truth. Truth, nothing but the truth. If I don't know what happened and 2 witnesses come, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I want you to listen to these witnesses. Perhaps statistically, they are to be trusted, and after you make a thorough investigation, of course. But if you saw it with your own eyes, I don't care how many witnesses tell me what happened. I know that it's a lie. Says the Rambam, that's exactly the case here. A prophet came. What if the witnesses do nice big miracles to prove it? It's irrelevant. The miracles are nice, but they're magic. Says the Rambam, that's what happened here. The Nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu we saw. the nevuah of this prophet, he's saying that God told him to deny the prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu and he's performing a miracle. Okay. So it's like you have 10,000 witnesses who are denying something you saw. You don't accept it. It's not even a dilemma. That's why the Torah says, that even if this prophet who denies the prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu does a miracle, don't listen to him. Because he's performing a miracle to deny that which you have seen and experienced with your own body, with your own eyes, with your own mind. And since we don't believe in a miracle of a Navi only because Moshe told us to do so, how then are we going to embrace this person's prophecy based on his miracle when his very message is coming to deny the prophecy of Moshe, which we saw and we heard? He basically just pulled the rug out of under his own feet. The whole reason we're going to believe him. We don't believe miracles. We doubt miracles. We don't believe that anybody who does a miracle is saying the truth. We know there's different ways of manipulating nature. There's a reason we believe a Navi who does a miracle. Why? Moshe Rabbeinu communicated in the name of Hashem a love to Shmo, it's one of Hashem's mitzvahs. That we don't doubt. That Hashem, the creator of the world, wants me to listen to this Navi. The moment the Navi says that I'm here to deny the nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu, it never happened, now he's doing a miracle. Okay, your miracle, cannot contradict and undermine the truth of Moshe Rabbeinu that I experienced with my own eyes and my own ears. Which, of course, will now bring you to the question, what happens if this new prophet doesn't say Moshe Rabbeinu was a liar? He doesn't say Moshe Rabbeinu made up Judaism. He doesn't say Sinai never happened. He doesn't say any of that. He says Moshe Rabbeinu said the truth, but then God changed his mind, and now I'm going to communicate a new message. Isn't that what quite more than one religion has done? That's going to be the focus of chapter 9. This concludes the 8th chapter of Rambam Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah.
This class is brought to you by the Yeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.